putting this shit in front of kids is going to do something. Like, it's just going to enrage us.
It is. It's going to drive us insane. And with that being said, I got a surprise for you boys tonight. We've got a special guest in the house. Everyone give a strong Divisive Network welcome to the Honey Badger. Hello, honey. How are
you? Hello, Miss Badger.
Welcome. You're muted.
You're muted. Hold on.
She's working on it, I think.
Yeah, she's setting it up. I'll go ahead and set that up.
Gosh,
but
what time is it, actually?
Oh, it's late, boys. We're in the final stretch right now.
We're good. I'm good, man.
She just had a space about what we're going to talk about tonight. She just got off of a Twitter space about the AMC GME pump, and we are in that segment right now. Nice. Honey, we're talking about this. How did your space go? Welcome to the panel. Give this girl an air horn. Oh, still no sound. Let's check. Let me see this right here. Make sure you're... Take that. There we go. It might work now. Nope. Still no sound. That's all right. We'll hang out. Wait for you to get set up.
Yeah, just let her. She'll pipe right in for sure when that time comes.
Yeah. So guys, I'm gonna bring this up on the stage. Have you seen this yet, guys? So this is actually from 3 days ago. Short sellers have now lost $1.8 billion on GME.
Nice.
Wow.
1.8. This was from 3 days ago. Let me pull her down so she can get her thing reset.
That's what I call a nice transfer of wealth.
Yeah. And when you say loss, right? When it says loss, this isn't really a loss, right? Because these guys have had, like, the money didn't disappear. What happened was the GME buyers, these apes, these bulls with the big old bull balls running across the room, they transferred wealth from these short sellers into their bank accounts. And this is something we saw in 2021. And it's the reason I wanted to talk about corruption, right? This corruption has touched everything. It's touched politics. It's touched the markets. And this situation that's happening right now with AMC and GME is just a small example of one of the first times that we've actually been able to take some of this money back from these people, right? And I said this the other night in a stream, and I want to ask you what you think about this, Joker. So I always talk about removing bad politicians. But what I realized is if you take a bad politician, maybe a politician who's been in office and he's corrupt and he's taken bribes, so you kick him out of office and he gets to go sit in his multi-million-dollar mansion that he bought with all of his bribe money. Have you really heard it?
No. And you know what? That corrupt politician is probably utilizing all of their connections they already made in politics to, get more stuff, right? Get contracts and maybe, work for a defense contractor or something, right? So, the list will go on. They have a certain value, even when they're stepping back, from their position. It's there could be a lot they could gain from that said position.
I think we have the Honey Badger. Man. Can you hear us now, honey?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, we got you. Yay! Honey's here. Give that girl an air horn. So we wanted to ask you about your space. You just did a space about the GME industry. We've got this little graphic here from the Kobayashi letter. Short sellers have lost $1.8 billion as of 3 days ago. It's much more than that.
She claps immediately. She doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
Let's fucking go, boy.
Let's go.
Seriously. So, okay. I'm going to try to. It was a phenomenal space, you guys. Please listen to it because I had some baller dudes come in and just explain everything from start to finish. Every bit of the corruption that has been going on since 2014. And I haven't had enough time to process it mentally yet. And again, it's really good that the space was short. But, Divisive, you put a light bulb off in my head last night when we were in Kimmy's space. when you were talking about American retail companies and people investing in American retail and people reinvesting in the American dream. Now, I know a lot of the apes, I know a lot of the retards, and they, I've been owning that stock for a while, and I just remember the movement, and I remember it started out, if I can nerd out just for a second. So back during COVID, I started to watch Tim Pool, and I just caught wind of like Doge and the Blockbuster stock, Wall Street Bets, etc. And then I saw the halt. Then I saw Elizabeth Warren actually halt. Miss don't treat college kids like an ATM machine. You fucking evil, you fucking evil bank.
Let's go.
And then she's the one who's fucking propping the halt, right? And we saw what Robinhood did, in cooperation with Citadel and the bricklayers. What are they? Anyways, but we watched them lie through their teeth and get away with it.
No one was held accountable.
Nobody was ever held accountable. And that report came out on the same day as Roe versus Wade. Would you like to know? How convenient.
Wow.
So point being, a few of the guys that I just met through like listening to the spaces, they came in and broke it all down. And my whole thing was, guys, you remember going to the movies with your friends when you were like 13, getting dropped off. It was their babysitter, going to GameStop all the time, picking up the game that you liked. And all these hedgies wanted to do was cancel your childhood dream. And your kids aren't going to be able to have the same thing. Toys R Us isn't here anymore.
Blockbuster. They did it to all our kids. Blockbuster's gone. Toys R Us is gone. They even killed Sears. Sears.
I remember getting excited before Christmas and seeing the Sears catalog come and stuff. All of these experiences your children will never have. Why? Because these fuckers have bet against America. They've bet against the things that our lives were built upon, our best childhood memories. And so the effort to bring these back by people who really believe in these stocks, as Rory and Kitty said, I just like the stock. Oh no, you're an idiot. You're an idiot because you're not going along with the status quo. Well, they're wrong all the time, and we know that it's like corrupt from top to bottom. But I'm not filling my space, but you guys, you really need to listen to the amount of knowledge that was dropped in that space in the course of an hour and 15 minutes, because I kept it short so I could come join you. Thank you so much.
That's right. We've been excited, guys. Honey Badger is a real one. She's an absolute dominator on the Twitter spaces. She takes people out to the tool shed whenever they act up. There's a reason they call her the Honey Badger. There's a reason she's called the Honey Badger, and she's absolutely amazing. So we do appreciate your time. And I want to say something about, Rory and Kitty. I watched his original thesis, and you know what his original thesis was on GameStop? His original thesis was this simple. He said that the concern about digital games replacing retail gaming was overblown, that he didn't think that everyone is going to make digital purchases, and that there's collectibles within GameStop that people will still want to own a physical collectible, whether that's a physical game or whether it's like a gaming related collectible product, right? So then in addition to that, his second point was that the short was over shorted. So it was overestimated the threat of the digital purchases. It was over shorted, and they overlooked the value in the company. And then you had this guy, Ryan Cohen, who came on from Chewy, which was an absolutely amazing company. Anyone who's shopped at Chewy, I have pets. Anyone who has a pet that has shopped at Chewy know that this is an amazing company that goes above and beyond for their clients. They send you a birthday card for your pet on your pet's birthday. They have amazing customer service. He decided that he was going to rescue GameStop, and that's when this bull run really took off, coming off the faith that people had in Ryan Cohen's ability to do this thing. And the hedge funds wanted this company gone. They created so many naked short selling. There was so much naked short selling going on that the only way they had out of this situation is if GameStop disappeared. If the company went out of business, that was the only way they would have been able to cover their shorts. And it didn't go out of business. And for the past 3 years, we've been seeing so much market manipulation that has propped these hedge funds up. And we got a new one. Citron is a new one. And we are going to be able to look at how Citron's acting right now, and we're going to see another big company go out of business. What do you think, honey? Did people talk about the shorting?
What came up? Yes, that's exactly what. And by the way, that the number is 234%. It was shorted.
Yeah,
How can that fucking make sense?
How can you short? There isn't 200% of a company.
Well, and I asked the question. It was funny because I said, well, wait a second. That's not mathematically possible. Like,
it's not.
You're cutting headlights in there, and like, stop being logical, Nance. You just don't get it. I'm like, yeah, I don't. But at the same time, like, okay, so I would like to end with this. Yes, and these are the things that scare people away from the market. Is that it doesn't make logical sense. It doesn't make practical sense, and a lot of people have a weird relationship with money. You know, I mean, I don't know about you, but I grew up afraid of money. Like I'm from a family of 9 kids, you know, and I can just remember my mom being constantly terrified about, like, just constantly stressing about not having enough money. You know, so a lot of us, it's like the financial literacy thing, which is the point that you drove home so well last night, by the way. You know, I think that was the hot trigger. Financial literacy is the key to all of our success. And that kind of set me off because I know myself, like, I need to put myself in a position to listen to other people that know a lot more than me and not be afraid of money, you know, instead of just doing the normie thing. And so thank you so much for that. And so, but then taking a step forward, yeah, no, Citron. Okay. And that was one of the comments that Citron's being shorted. I've been talking to the Bed Bath & Beyond people, you know, a ton of people are just, I'm finally kind of like, it's a great awakening, I guess. And the more people that we can help understand that you're just investing in the United States, and I'm not shilling for anybody, you guys, this is like absolutely genuine, you know. I don't care if you want to invest in Bitcoin, go ahead. But all we know is that the system is corrupt. And when people talk about volatility and instability, what? Instability who? Instability corruption? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's blow up the explosion.
That's right. And you know what? I want to make a comment on this because Citron didn't learn their lesson. They are shorting GME right now. And to give some clarification as what Honey Badger's talking about, last night I was given an example. And the example was essentially that there are countries that nationalize their oil and they give every citizen in their country a check because that country has that resource. So we're talking about some countries in the Middle East, some countries in Asia, some countries in South America do this as well. And someone asked the question, how can we do something like that in the United States? And my answer was essentially that if the US stock market wasn't corrupt, we wouldn't need the government to give us a check. And if we had financial literacy in this country, Americans, the retail investor, would be the most powerful force within the American financial system because American products are in the pockets of every technologically advanced society. They have American cell phones. They're using the internet that was invented by Americans. They're using PCs. They're using social media apps that were invented in the United States. And if we had a stock market that was actually not corrupt and we had a population of people that were financially literate, by being an American, you would be getting a dividend check because you would be invested in these American companies that have mass global reach. So we don't need the government to give us universal basic income or give us some sort of, you know, payment for just being an American, because that is what the stock market was intended to be in the beginning. It was supposed to be, if American companies did well and American products sold well, then all Americans were supposed to get a piece of that prosperity. And yet you didn't have a gun to your head to force you to participate in that. You had the option to pick the companies that you believed in, and you as an American deserve a piece of the American financial market, because you've elected the politicians that have created the environment that allowed this technological advancement to take place in the first place. So that is what I essentially said last night, and I truly do believe it. I think that would be a much better system than nationalizing oil or giving people some sort of universal basic income.
No, absolutely. But so, I know you guys, gentlemen tend to think in like logic and numbers and facts, but I'm the only chick, so I can offer this, I guess. But if you guys recall, during COVID and when this all popped off initially, nobody could speak to each other. People lost their jobs for various reasons, whether it be refusing the vaccine or their small businesses were shut down, or they just weren't allowed to speak to their neighbors. And then all of a sudden, somebody who happens to know something sitting at home starts to watch a stock that he just happens to like, and it happens to be an American stock. And what ensued was a tsunami of hope. And I gotta believe that, in our deepest, darkest times, that's where God works his best grace. And whether you like the stock or not, where you can all think we're stupid for propping it, like whatever the conventional wisdom is. But at the end of the day, it opened a window of hope for people to self-actualize and to live in their integrity, and to find that we do have power as human beings when we unite. And we saw people unite. We saw, we saw the Groyper Red Pill. We saw we saw the Occupy Wall Street people. We saw a bunch of people come together, unite as human beings, and they made money together once they realized that the system doesn't control us. And that's why, divisive. Like, you've got kids. A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
When Hopper is lecturing the other grasshoppers, and it's like, if we let them think they can do anything, that they outnumber us 1,000,000 to 1. Remember?
Yep.
And all the bugs were terrified. That's the scene of one movie, like any movie that comes to mind when I think back to that time, because even I was like, I'm not a Reddit person, but even I was like, this is fucked up. Okay.
I'm a Reddit degen through and through. I was, the night Roaring Kitty came back, I was dunking tenders in champagne. That was $120 bottle of champagne, you haters. People was telling me I was drinking sparkling apple juice. That was $120 bottle of champagne, just so you guys know. And I was excited. The reason I'm excited about this is because, look, it's like Nance said, we have this situation where what I think are very corrupt people that haven't been doing the right thing for a long time have put themselves in a corner. And if people can understand what's happening, it's not super complex, but there is a bit of a learning curve. You do have to understand what a squeeze is. You do have to understand what short selling is, naked short selling. But once you get past that little learning curve, what you realize is these guys did this to themselves. We're not screwing someone over that doesn't deserve it. We're not screwing somebody over that didn't bring this upon themselves. They put themselves in this situation by doing this naked short selling, and they were acting in a nefarious way, trying to destroy an American company that might not necessarily have been destroyed, because as Roaring Kitty put in his thesis, a lot of what was being done was being pushed by the hedge funds themselves. The shorting was driving down the price. They were purposefully spreading articles saying that it was going to go out of business because everyone's only going to buy digital video games, completely ignoring the fact that they were selling Pokemon cards. They were selling anime. They were selling actual gaming consoles that people preferred to buy in person instead of getting online and risking them being damaged in the shipping process. I can't tell you how many people people I know that won't go buy a Switch or buy a Xbox from Amazon because they don't want the system to get damaged. They want to keep their box. It's just who they are as gamers. And he pointed out these things. And for the first time, a bunch of people that, as Nance pointed out, that are very different. They come from different backgrounds. Groypers, you have Occupy Wall Street guys who were traditionally more leftist. And then you have these really strong capitalist, free market guys, these Ron Paul guys. They came together, they put their political differences aside, and they said, we have a chance to take a shot at the king. We could kill one of these corrupt financial institutions. And Melvin Capital died. We took some of Ken Griffin's wealth away. Citadel took a major hit, and we can do it again because they've been manipulating the market for the past 3 years. They have not covered their shorts. And as I said in the beginning of this stream, this is not financial advice, but I do still like the stock. I like the stock.
Listen, okay, I'm gonna push back. When you say why do you have to say not financial advice? Why
I
do you
have to say it, but they don't.
No, but why? I
It's
hear
crazy.
that you have to, but why?
So if we say it and we're not,
Disclaimers, allegedly.
if we're not-
No, I get it, but why do we have to say it? Because we're not supposed to tell each other what we actually know. Because
Exactly.
it's a form of censorship.
It's a
I'm gonna do
mental thing that they're doing to mess with us,
Yeah.
to prevent us from talking about what we believe is going on in the market, because it's crazy. Nancy Pelosi, any of these TV talking heads, they can get on TV and talk about what they're doing in the stock market or what's going to happen
Yeah.
with this company or that company. They don't have to make a disclaimer. And it's funny that this guy is out here tweeting. Roaring Kitty tweeted a picture of a guy holding a video game controller. You had major market makers, you had major mainstream politicians saying this guy is participating in market manipulation because he tweeted a freaking picture, yet the politicians in DC are allowed to buy the stock that they're awarding government contracts to. And that's not insider trading. So I'm fed up with this shit, man. I'm telling you right now, I'm with the apes. I'm with the apes all the
I'm
way.
with the
You
apes.
know, like, okay, guys, I know a few apes, by the way, like IRL. I know a few apes, and let me tell you something. It was a super cool. So, like, I just sit and listen so I can learn, you know, in their spaces. So, what the conversation I'm going to say, I would give her handle, but my friend Bonnie, you know, she owns AMC, she owns, you know, GME. So she's talking about, like, why doesn't AMC, for example, put a GME, to put GameStop, you know, inside the movie theater? Because there, you know, there's times when you're like your controller breaks or whatever. You could be selling Merc back and forth. Like, but the point is they were brainstorming with each other, and these are people that, like, these are the people who are like heavy stockholders, and just hearing them brainstorm about like bringing the two companies together, what the potential would be. And I'm not saying that any of this is happening. Definitely not financial advice. But what I am saying is that I felt like I was sitting in, you know, a meeting with the board of directors. It was so fucking cool. You know, like the ideas and the possibilities. And there are so many that, like, just listening to them, you know, like talk about the potential. But that's hope, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what, and that's the thing that it really confuses me. You know, the condescending nature of, you know, like the Bitcoin or crypto community. I want everyone to win. I don't care where you invest. Diversify your portfolio. Invest in whatever you like. But what is the canceling of other, you know, of people who, when we all agree that the system is corrupt, and we have to find alternative measures, and the only way we'll find those alternative measures is if we all get on the same page, all get on each other's side and cheer for each other.
You know, I agree with that. I want to chime in real quick. I have pretty low energy right now, but first of all, honey, thanks for jumping on. I really appreciate your time. You have so many things to process, I'm sure, especially with your previous space. So thank you for making time for us tonight. There's so many things to unpack here. I'll try to keep it short and sweet, but I think the biggest thing that we can do is continue to shine a light on this, to educate, to raise awareness, and to encourage people to do their own damn research, and involve yourself in communities and spaces and panels and discussions like this, to really benefit themselves. And I don't even mean that in a selfish way, but more importantly, how that in turn can go hand in hand with your local brother and sister, right? It definitely, it typically has to get worse before it gets better. The problem with this is that this has been going on for so long, so very long, and it's so awesome. To your point that you made initially, it's just so awesome to hear these people talk in real time to actually come together for the betterment of humankind. I mean, honestly, of humankind. And it's easy for us to say, you know, oh, we're gonna stick it to the man, you know, that kind of thing, and it's true. We all feel that way, absolutely. But to see these things unfold before our very eyes, it's very encouraging. And without sounding too, you know, hippie and, you know, feelings and emotions and woohoo and whatnot, like there's some real practical, tangible methods that we can take to actually really, essentially, I don't use this word lightly, but like fight back. Honestly, essentially fight back. And to take back what was really has been taken from us for so many years through tax this or insurance that, and in terms of all things financially, and these hedge funds and these groups that are all in bed with each other. Like it's just it's a I can't even really put that into words, but it's so encouraging to witness this firsthand and to experience it firsthand, to have these kinds of conversations and knowing that we're all on the same page in this and that we all want to help each other out for sure.
You know, I think that the first thing is that when you ask questions when things go wrong, you appear reactionary. But really, what's happened, you know, this didn't happen overnight. It's the like boiling pot of water with the frog in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this has been going on, this has been going on for a long time, and people have become comfortably numb. And we realize that, but it's so encouraging to me when I see the people who haven't become comfortably numb. You know, that's where great stories happen. You know, if you've watched Cinderella Man, you know what I'm talking about. You know, the greatest heroes come in the worst sort of depression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just the way the world is. You know, and I gotta say that, you know, I know I'm waxing philosophical and probably a little bit emotional, but that's why people love great ideas. You know, people love a survivor. People love the person who just asks questions and then has the courage to follow what they believe to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they fall flat on their face sometimes, even if they have to get back up a couple of times. Seabiscuit, one of my favorite movies as well. You know, the point is that it's a rarity that we see people come up and actually inspire people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so my thing is that inspiration often, like mostly, comes in our times of great darkness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because in our darkness, that's where God shines his brightest light. You know, when we're humbled, when we're on our faces, you know, when we have no place else to turn, you know, that's where God perfects his grace. And I have great hope for this world as a result, you guys, because I can't imagine anything but this present darkness. I was in the green room or whatever you call it when you guys were talking about gender reassignment, you know, and I mean it's going to get worse before it gets better, but at the same time, you know, there is a light that's coming but our job is to share it, you know, and have that moral courage to inspire other people that may be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am going way off into the weeds. I'm so sorry.
No, hey, we love it. I don't know about dude, Divisive. I'm sure I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I love it. I personally do. I just want to add real quickly. I won't necessarily get super spiritual, but I have a lot of people don't know this about me, but my faith runs really, really, really deep. I don't know everything and I don't claim to know everything, but I'm reminded of something that I said, actually, I think it was in Caroline's space a little while ago. Habakkuk chapter 1, verses 1 through 11. I'm totally paraphrasing this because it's a big, long thing. But essentially it's saying, Habakkuk is like, God, what are you doing? What are you doing? All this evil around us, all this just terrible things happening. And it's essentially him saying that, like, listen, even then you need to understand, have faith in me, and knowing that you literally cannot even fathom how I'm going to turn this around for the betterment of mankind. I am literally in control of everything. I am that smart. And again, paraphrasing here, I am that smart that even everything you think is fully destructive and it's just your world's crumbling around you, I am going to turn that for good. And I think that this is the genesis, if you will, of that story in a financial way. But out of this, out of the ashes kind of thing, here comes the phoenix. Like, the unity in the community that is being established right here, right now, the foundation that's being built from brother to sister and sister to brother to help each other out, and to really, again, not just stick it to the man, but the message that's being sent, that is priceless. And I love the fact that I can confidently say, hey, I partook in this. I am a part of that journey. Whether you have 5,000 followers on Twitter, it'll always be Twitter, it's not X, sorry, or 5 followers or whatever, to know that, hey, somebody else needs help or somebody else is educated in this. Let's learn from each other. Let's literally lock arms and say enough is enough, because that's the biggest turning point right now, I think, in this country, is that we've strayed away for so many years now. And again, as I said before, the night is darkest before the dawn. And this, I think, is absolutely a big, big sign of a massive change that's coming.
Chavez, this is going to be a catalyst for financial literacy. There are going to be new millionaires that are created out of this that are going to do amazing things for the community, for the truth community, for the anti-degeneracy movement. The guys that are right now making tons of money off of this GME squeeze, which isn't a squeeze yet. I'm feeling squeezy. It's not lemonade yet, but I'm feeling squeezy. And next week, I can't wait to see what happens. But this is going to be a catalyst for financial literacy. New millionaires are going to be made from this that are going to use their money to help with causes that are going to make the world a better place. And one of the things I love about this movement in general is it is going to be something that's tangible. When we're talking about financial success, that is something that has generational impact. And if you take away the money of these corrupt people, there is no other way to hurt them. Like I was telling you earlier in the space, Chavez, so what if you get a corrupt politician out of office? He gets to go back to his multi-million-dollar beach house and use his money to invest in the next corrupt guy or the corrupt organization that he was taking bribes from. But if you take away that corrupt man's wealth, you're really actually having a tangible effect on this. And to speak on Honey Badger's point about listening to some of the ideas that these people have, that's another way that this is going to be used for good. I've heard people talk about things that GameStop could do to rescue itself. And these people are now thinking about business. They're thinking about how can we make an American company better? And that's going to bleed into other areas of their life. And one of the things that I was so struck by this idea, if GameStop partners with PSA or CGC or Beckett, which are these huge grading companies, I got a graded comic right over there. Usually this process takes months. You got to take your comic, you got to wrap it. You're scared to death that it's going to get damaged in the mail. You ship it out to a company like CGC or PSA. They grade your Pokemon card or your baseball card or your comic book. This process takes months, right? But could you imagine if GameStop went into partnership with one of those major grading companies and you could walk into a GameStop with your comic book and get it graded that day by a CGC qualified grader, and they have that grading machine in there that slabs your comic or slabs your Pokemon card, they would become a multi-billion-dollar business overnight. It is the best idea I heard. And Ryan Cohen, if you see this video, make sure I get that dividend check, my friend. Send it my way, buddy, because we'll make some money.
Mind you, this is not business advice, right?
Not business advice. I'm just saying, Ryan Cohen, it is for you, my friend. This is some business advice for your board. Take it to your board.
No, but for real, okay, if I can dial it down just for a second. Sorry. I'm sorry to be the mom, but so yes, there is like everybody from these communities that I talk to, stick it to the man. Not everybody, but I hear this all the time. But I would submit that that's yes, okay, it's a motivator, but is it the best motivator? No, it's like, okay, man, you're done. We're doing right, and we're going, we're approaching our potential as human beings, and we're helping each other. So like that's kind of a secondary gain that the man loses, but that can't be that can't be the goal. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, the goal is financial literacy and a successful society. Yeah.
Thank you.
Agreed.
That is so, but yeah, and that's something like, and again, I'm not trying to be reactionary, but like we were just talking about, there's an erosion process. And that's where some of these movements get canceled because they get on a maniacal front in front of, trying to just be the best version of themselves, the way that God intended us to be. So the focus needs to be a positive one. And I'm not a woo-woo person at all. I'm just saying this is the energy needs to be like what you were saying, Divisive. It needs to be remembering, the inspiration comes, like the spirit of the soul is greater than anything that is nefarious against us.
And you can't take the money with you, honey. I mean, I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this because I want my family to be comfortable, and I want my country.
It's about principle, right?
Amen. There we go. How many times have I said that on live stream?
We've been saying this for a while, Chavez. Yeah. I just want to thank you guys so much. We're gonna be winding down. I got one final question for the panel, and then I'm gonna give the outros. I'm gonna put Chavez's X page on here because he hates it when I say X, and I'm gonna put Honey Badger's Twitter page up so people can follow it. I just want to thank all 299 of you amazing viewers. You guys get an air horn because I really do appreciate you hanging out with us on a Thursday night. Make sure you retweet this episode because we got into so much. There was just so much in this episode, and I got some great shows coming for you next week. So my final question for the panel, I'm going to send it to Chavez, and then I'm going to give the last word to Honey. Chavez, what do you think we can do as content creators to convince people that financial literacy is important?
Well, first and foremost, I would say focus on yourself in terms of educating yourself. And this goes for me. This goes for me as well. Educate yourself, but also practice what you preach. In turn, as you go on live stream, show some humility. Believe it or not, show some humility. Let your audience and your viewership, or in my case, my flexers, let them know what you learned, what you were wrong about, and where you received your information, and direct them to valuable, reliable sources. Don't just do what I call surface level research, and you say, oh, this person is saying that, you're this person. All right, cool, sweet. Let's bring it together, and then just spew out nonsense. Like I always use this term as well, cross-reference multiple sources to look for consistencies. And in turn, if you can educate your audience, which is in this case, as content creators, is usually a younger generation, and I take full responsibility for this. I really sincerely do. And this is why I'm so passionate about this. Is nurturing the human spirit, but actually educating the younger folk in general, especially me being in a position of influence and I guess power. I don't even mean to say that arrogantly.
Well, we have a responsibility, right, Chavez?
Well,
because
exactly.
we got to see what it was like before the technology. We got to play outside, but then we also grew up with it, and that puts us in a unique position. Like, don't we have a unique responsibility, like Joker was talking about? Yeah.
Absolutely, we do, because we also see the problem, the core problem. We also see the symptoms of the problem, and we know how to navigate through that. And that's something, look, a wise man seeks knowledge, right? Wisdom is priceless. It is absolutely priceless. And if you in turn can hand that off to even just one person to better themselves, that is very telling. That is huge. And that is a massive win, let alone hundreds, if not hopefully even thousands, hell, even tens and hundreds of thousands of people. Hey, this person tells two friends, this person tells two friends, and so on and so forth. So I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, but do some valid research. Again, as we said so many times before, ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. And if somebody is shutting you down, even just asking questions, there's your first red flag, and actually identifying that, hey, maybe this is not a valuable source here. Let me dial it back a little bit. So I'll go ahead and stop there because I could go on for sure, and I'm running a little low on energy.
I got you, man. It's been a long one, but I appreciate you coming. So,
Absolutely.
Honey Badger, what can we do to inspire the younger generation to be better people? And what does it mean to be a better person?
Well, first we have to set an example, right? So, I mean, I have to, like, I'm a woman, so I have to give a narrative. But so when my son was a wrestler, you know, he I always had to help him make weight, so I had to cook for him all the time, and I didn't starve him or whatever. He had to eat exactly what I told him to. Now, fortunately, he was obedient, and I would get up and run with him. Like, he had to run 4 miles in the morning and then go to practice at night. And so I really took care of all of his needs, but I shouldered with him every step of the way. So I gained his respect. So he bought into everything that I told him to do. One of those things that I told him to do was to be fiscally responsible. Don't spend money you don't have. Don't let your fun interfere with your success, but always do the best you can with what you have to make yourself a happy person. So it's a very basic message. And he's a very moralistic person, actually. He loves the GameStop stock, by the way. And so what do I have to show for it? I have a child who just became a doctor. He graduated from medical school last week, and he married his beautiful bride the week before.
So awesome.
And he's 27 years old. They can't wait to have children. She's a BSN from the Philippines. You know, they're just phenomenal people. But I think success breeds success, but we have to define success. And to us, success has always been laying ourselves in obedience and humility to our Creator and being the best version of ourselves. Now, that's the only inspiration you'll ever need. And we also have to realize that through those trials and tribulations, God is sharpening our sacrifices and our obedience to put us in a position to communicate with each other, to communicate with other people our experiences, and to give the wisdom from our experience. And so I really love that point that you just made, Chavez, is that, if we can all listen to each other, understand things, and also, inspire each other. That's where we need to stay. And we need to get after each other when we're doing wrong, right? Okay, I'm telling you.
We talked about that earlier in the stream.
If you're doing wrong, I will call your ass out. Okay, so you know. And you better do the same shit for me too.
We talked about that. That was the first half of the stream. Yep. We talked about toxic tolerance and how to hold each other accountable. I just want to thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Make sure if you're watching, all 306 of you, make sure that you retweet this conversation. Check out Chavez Flexington on X. I also got one more for you here. Check out the Honey Badger at Nance. She is absolutely amazing. I'm going to put her up on here as well. Nance726. This is Honey Badger's X page. Make sure you go check her out. Look at her, Chavez, 93,000, making us look like scrubs over here. She's making us look like scrubs. She's making us look like scrubs over here. I just want to thank you guys. This was a great conversation. We talked about so many issues: toxic tolerance, gay bears. We talked about nature documentaries, GameStop. I mean, it was a heck of a conversation tonight. I want to thank you so much to the audience. This is a huge thank you to you. You could have been anywhere tonight. There's so much going on Twitter. There's so much going on that you spent your time with us. I really do not take it for granted. Next Tuesday, we have an interview with a congressional candidate who just won her primary, and she's going up against a bad hombre. Cheryl Riley will be on the show next Tuesday night, and we are going to talk about who Cheryl is, why she ran for Congress, and who she is running against. It's going to be a great conversation, and I am going to be live every Tuesday and Thursday night with the team. You have Chavez Flexington, you've got the Kick Joker, you've got Beaten Cheeks, You've got that girl, Casey. We are the Divisive Network, and we are going to be making a lot of content for you guys. So make sure you share this out, follow your favorite people.